It was hard because it was like I left my family to work hard and get to where I'm through hard work, and now my whole career is questioned.
How bad was it?
The big fight this weekend is off. Benn failed a drugs test.
It was set to be the biggest legacy fight in British boxing history.
All I know is I'm being targeted heavily. There was no how, there was no why, nothing for a long time.
How did Clomiphene get in his system?
My heart says he should be banned.
Don't even look at my son. I'm your dad.
Completely go off the rails.
AWOL.
This has been a big stain on the reputation of the sport.
See all these people, that have been rinsing me, killing me, like painting my heart black. Just imagine for a split second if I am what I'm about to go through. I had my daughter day before I found out I lost the appeal.
Was you close to giving up?
Yeah, because it just takes them moments away from you. Who cares what they think? I'd rather be me than them any day of the week. Certain broadcasters, I look at him, I would still rather be me any day of the week than you on your best day. I'll fight for my innocence. Irrelevant of what you're saying or you're saying, I haven't done it. I'll bet £1 million on it. I'll bet you £1 million I haven't done it. And then people may sit down there and they go, oh my gosh, he actually was telling the truth.
Welcome back to the First Round podcast. I am your host, Darren Barker, former world champion. You know that already. This episode, I'm thrilled to have this guest on because I've known him since he's been here in the country. We'll get onto that now. Conor Benn, thank you for joining us. How are you, mate?
It's a pleasure, mate. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. I'm living the dream, I guess. Living the dream to have you
love
sat
to
in front
hear
of
that.
me now, mate.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I've pretty much known you since you arrived in the UK. Pretty much because of your dad's relationship with Tony Sims, you linking up with Tony. It's been a journey, hasn't it?
It has. It's mad when you look back at it and you go, how far I've come from where I started. Obviously, when you start out, you're all like, let's see how far we can go. Do you know what I mean? Let's see where we can take it. And then obviously having the champions that were in the gym at the time and come from a gym of champions, that on its own, forget the Benn name, added to my amount of pressure. Yeah, to make sure that, I achieved the minimal, which would have been a British title. Tony said, every fighter in the gym, the minimal you can achieve in this gym is British title. It's like, oh.
Would you say you're past that now?
Yeah, I'd say I'm past that now.
But would you still want to win it? Not bothered
no,
now?
because people think I'd skipped that period of fighting for the British title. I was scheduled to fight Chris Jenkins. Obviously, the promoters back then weren't friends. So, it was hard for me to not fight for the British title because I think it was a title my dad never won. So for me, it would have been nice to have won that in my own right. And I said, all right, well, if you can't get the British title, then you got to give me someone credible. Because I was up for it, the Chris Jenkins fight for the British title. And they gave me Sebastian Formello, who's former world champion, who's only lost come to Sean Porter. So I was like, all right, I'm happy with that. And then
you kind of take a different route, didn't
Yeah.
you? Then it's like, right, I'm creeping towards the big one.
yeah,
the
it wasn't
world
even the manner of it wasn't just winning for me. It was in the manner of how I won and how I looked, and my ring craft and my performance, my shot selection, my speed, my variation, my time. All of that played a massive factor because that was really the first step up for me, where I was like, believe it or not, my whole career, and I know it's mad, or I probably told you already, I thought I was going to go back to painting and decorating up until that fight. Like, I thought I was genuinely going to go back to painting and decorating or scaffolding for Luke's firm. Elite scaffolding. So that's what that's genuinely what I thought.
You honestly, there's so many. We're similar in quite a lot of ways, and we've had a lot of chats, and you have something, and these lads know as well. I have that imposter syndrome, and sometimes I feel like you have it a little bit as well because we've had conversations where you've gone, but do you think I can do it? Like, am I good? Am I good enough? And because these are question marks that the likes of Mike Tyson would ask himself. You watch interviews with Tyson. He's saying the same thing. So there's no sign of weakness when you're asking these questions. But you're very similar in that sense to me because I never really. It's not a case of did I believe in myself, but I was kind of surprising myself all the time. And I always felt eventually this run will come to an end. You know, I'm getting to like 10-0, blah, blah, blah. And we'll talk about...
You sort of feel like it's too good to happen to me.
Yeah, like, how am I blagging this?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the hardest sport in the world. How am I getting to 15-0? Hold on a minute, it's a bit weird. It's going to end soon. So I was very similar. But we'll get to all of that in a minute. I want to go right back. Pressure from the off, really, I guess. Well, not so much pressure, but...
No, you can call it pressure.
Yeah, but even before boxing, for people that don't know, where did you grow up and how was your upbringing?
So I grew up in Spain, lived there for 12 years. In
Fluent, aren't you?
Fluent in Spanish, yeah. And then we moved to Sydney, Australia.
How old was you?
I'd probably say 14.
Right.
I lived there for about 4 years. And that was where I picked up boxing. Weirdly, in the transition from Mallorca to Sydney, we stopped off in England for about 2-3 weeks. And that was when really a lot was, my eyes were opened to the boxing world and who my dad was. And you'd see me on a Sky Sports Boxing on the ringside with Johnny Nelson and Adam Smith. And I'm there in the ring.
That.
Yeah. That was, and my dad was like, yeah, he's going to be a next world champion. But there was no like reason as to why. No, there was no reason as to why my dad said that. There was no reason. He just fully just said it. And then you see me there like sort of like, you know, grinning to myself in the background. I weren't raised a fighter, to be honest, Darren. I'm not really a fighter. I mean, I am obviously, but I'm not really. Like I ain't come from the mud and I didn't have no hardship I blagged it and became really good at it.
Isn't that more impressive in itself, though? Because you said it before. Yeah, I've got my silk pajamas, but I'm still getting up. I'm still doing my runs before you are. I'm still training hard. I come from working class, but it was never a struggle. It was never, nothing like that. That's a fight to get out of the gutter. It wasn't like that. I had a nice upbringing. I had a lovely family, a family full of love, everything. I had a comfortable life in that sense. I wasn't missing anything.
Just to say, Tony did tell me today that you're one of the hardest workers he's ever had in the gym. And your mindset around training.
And that come from my dad. My dad always said to me, you got to imagine your opponent training harder than you. And if
he said that to me today.
Yeah.
Just to let you know. So based on what you're saying, you're definitely something you're born with. And I do believe it's something that habits that you pick up and the way you are raised. Because the reality is, when you look at me and then look at my other siblings, they ain't like me. Do you know what I mean? It's probably better that they're not like me, but they're just not like me. Like, I just attack in everything I do.
But that's more impressive, though, don't you think? That you haven't had to do it. You haven't had to put yourself in this stressful environment with lots of pressure because you come from a good, privileged
Do you know what it was?
background.
My dad made it clear to me that the life I'm living, which was a very blessed life. Looking back, I go, God, what a life I lived. And looking back, my dad separated it very well and told me, this is what you have when you live with me. This is because of me. But you got to go and get it on your own. Like, this isn't yours. Like, you're my son. That's why you live in this house. He never gave me money. That was one thing he never done. He never spoiled me with money. It's probably why I'm good with my money to this day. Because he always made me work for it. He made me work from 7 to 5 p.m. for 50 quid a day, 50 euros a day.
Really?
Yeah. And then when I moved to England, I don't know what it is with the number 50. When I moved to England on my own, when I come back from Sydney, he gave me £50 a week. I'd have to call him up to get some fish and chips. I'd have to call him up to give me some fish and chips, send me over some money to get some fish and chips. That's how, you know what, he's the tightest geezer. He's the tightest geezer. Honestly, it makes me laugh. But you see how it's all turned now because he stays with me for about 6 months a year. God, do I give it to him.
Really?
About the electricity, keeps leaving the lights on, the outside lights, leaves the sauna on. Oh, I'll give it to him so bad. It's the funniest thing.
Going back to the movements of going from Spain, short period of time in the UK, going to Australia, how was that? Was that odd? You settled in Spain and then moving?
Don't know, because I knew when I was in Spain, although I lived in Spain the majority of my life, I knew I weren't Spanish. You're automatically, well, I'm not Spanish, and I went to a very bilingual school, but all my friends are Spanish. Majority of them from South America. So you go to we're different. And then you go to Australia and you're like, flipping heck, like, this is different.
Teenagers, well, it must be tough.
Yeah, it was tough, definitely. But I guess I just sort of took in my stride. Like, I don't speak to no one from Spain or Australia now.
Do you not?
Like, at all. Because in my head, I never built relationships like that. I wasn't that kid. No, I honestly weren't bothered about, friendships, and I just, it comes and goes, everything for a season. And I sort of had that mindset young, weirdly. Whereas my sister, she's in touch with everybody from school, from, kindergarten, I couldn't even remember their names.
So you had that little introduction when you was in the UK of who your dad was really,
Yeah.
the boxing. You sat on the set of ringside. What was your sort of goals then as a kid? Like, did you have any aspirations? Did you know what you wanted to do?
Yes, I got my certificate 3-4 on my master's degree in fitness.
Right.
This was all in Australia when I realised education and, academic work, sitting down, not for me. So I thought, do you know what am I interested in? And it was, a goal of mine was to open a Benn Academy.
Boxing?
Yeah,
Right.
boxing, calisthenics, just loads of different fitness, all under one roof. But mainly boxing, because I thought to myself, if I'm not going to box, I want to keep the Benn name legacy alive. And then I've done painting and decorating. I don't know, people may laugh at it. I love painting and decorating. I think I could have gone into painting and decorating.
That's what my dad does. So I done a lot of it.
I find
my
it
early
therapeutic.
days. Yeah.
Like, I actually love it. Like, I love painting. I love painting my house.
works with my dad though.
Oh, yeah. No, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, father-son relationship.
Oh, you met my dad in Harrods, do you remember?
I did, yeah.
My dad used to send me a picture, randomly bumps into...
Oh, it's so funny because I think he looks like you, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Yeah, lucky him. Yeah, no, so for me, that's what I wanted to do. And then I just started boxing in Australia. It's so funny how I'm here right now.
I know.
So funny.
I know to a degree. How many amateur fights did you have in Australia?
Well, apparently none, because there is none registered.
Right.
So
but you did.
I did have, I think I had about 22, 23 amateur bouts.
Okay.
I lost 2 of them.
You're just boxing.
I was
It's just
boxing.
a sport. You're doing your thing. You're
Yeah,
not really
just
thinking
boxing.
too far.
Yeah, just boxing. Like,
And-
just for, like, I weren't taking it seriously or anything. Like, I weren't like, I didn't know what the ABAs were. I didn't know what the Golden Gloves was or the national. Didn't know none of that. I was boxing in sheds in Australia, just doing it because my dad's a boxer and let's see how I get on.
And did these people in these sheds in Australia know who your dad was?
Yeah, definitely.
So there was pressure then. It's Nigel Benn's son. Blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
I'd say so. Yeah, there was, but not like as if I was boxing here. I definitely would have taken it seriously here. But I put out a tweet on Twitter on my old account that I made when I was maybe 16, and it said, "I will be the next world champion."
Where are you then? You're in
I don't know
Australia.
where.
You're in Australia.
I
though.
think I'm in Australia.
Right.
So I'm thinking in my head, maybe I don't remember thinking I was going to be world champion. So maybe back then, and it's the only tweet that's on there.
You then moved to the UK. Why?
Yeah, so I got in trouble in Sydney. I got in trouble over there. And then my dad, me, what, you? No chance, no one would have thought. Yeah, I got in trouble over there, and mine and my dad's relationship was very turbulent. It's probably, it was so
Volatile.
just not great. Like, it wasn't great at all. From the age of 14 to 18, mine and my dad's relationship was just non-existent.
Why? What? Very strict or?
What happened was my dad had confessed a lot of things to my mum over the years that really damaged my mum, and then he left the house for a year to get help with the church, etc. So he literally moved out for the year. But obviously that had affected me at the age of 14. Watching all of this unfold, I was old enough to understand what had gone on. And then when my dad moved back in the house, I've obviously built up anger over the year that I didn't understand how to deal with. But then again, obviously I'm hitting puberty, I'm becoming a man. So on top of that, you think you can come into the house after spend a year out and do this to the family and then be disciplined with me. But the discipline was proper discipline. It weren't like,
Really?
yeah, it weren't, I mean, can't say it weren't great because that's all he knew. But it wasn't, you wouldn't love your dad if they...
So, and what was you doing during these periods? Fighting back? Like, was it?
Fighting back.
Yeah.
Ooh. You find me old man back?
You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Not at all. No chance. Not a chance on God's green earth, would I? Like, do I look that stupid? Yeah, no. It was, yeah. So I just struggled. And then when I got in trouble over there, when it really mattered for my dad to be there, he said, son, if I was in proper trouble over there, son, you know, I love you and it's going to be okay. And then for me, that was where it was like, oh, yeah, she do love me. Like, yeah, she do care about me.
Did that draw a line understanding,
massively,
right? Okay,
massively.
he's got my back.
I still had a lot of issues to deal with,
but
I knew my dad loved me, which was a start.
You make amends with your dad. You go to the UK on your own.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Oh, it was bizarre.
Where did you? Did you
I
start
went
off
straight
in Manchester?
Yeah, I went straight to Manchester. I lived in a house with 3 other fighters: Sam Taffy Evans, Ruben Arrowsmith, and Nathan Gorman. And all of us lived in a house. But obviously, I'm like, I couldn't understand really what they were talking about. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't understand their accents. So yeah, Ruben Arrowsmith and Nathan Gorman. I'm just like, yeah, not a clue, mate. And then you got Taffy Evans, I'm just like, mate, thumbs up when they're talking. You can't really I didn't get the culture, I didn't get the humour, I didn't get nothing. I thought this was England. I thought that's what England was like. Because I don't know England, do I?
Literally, you'd only been there 2 weeks in your whole entire life.
I've been there, but obviously I'd been with my family, so
so you didn't
sheltered.
You didn't have a real taste of England, and then you're hiding in Hyde.
Yeah,
with 2-3 other lads, thinking, what is going on here? How tough was that?
Yeah, but they went home, so they could go home.
Oh, so then you're
weekends.
on your own.
And I'm on my own, yeah. So they could go home on weekends, and then I'm in the house on my own.
Jeez.
And then I thought to myself, well, I'd rather be. I thought in my head, I'm a man of faith. That's my punishment. Because the reality is, I would have rather been in prison in Australia and still see my family than be stuck here and not have anyone near me. So that was challenging, yeah.
It's fascinating, really. I have so many questions on this period. But you're in this house, you're in Hyde, and it's like, right, okay, I've got some good people around me, people that my dad know. I'm sure Ricky Hatton, was he?
He looked after me.
Yeah.
Ricky did. As much as he could, obviously. He's retired and he's living his own life. You know, Ricky was, for me, in my opinion, one of the last fighters to come out of the country. You know, so I loved his style. I loved the way he fought. I loved his aggressiveness. Just a tough man. I loved his style. And his fight was the first fight I ever went to.
Was it?
Yeah, first fight I went to. His last fight, where he got stopped, but it was like they went, Nigel Benn's in the building, the whole crowd just erupted. I was like, yeah, that's a bit of me. And then yeah, obviously that I was 14 then, maybe at the time 15, and then 4 years later, I've ended up at Ricky's.
So you're here because you have to be here, not necessarily because you wanted to be here.
Yeah, there was nothing for me over there anyway. And I thought at that stage, I was like, do you know what? I'll go to England and we planned on staying amateur for another 2 years.
Oh, that was the goal, right?
That was the goal.
Continue boxing.
But in England.
And then see what happens, sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to get a job as well. So my dad said, you're not living off the £50 a week. So you have to get a job as well.
Nuts.
Yeah, I went, Dad, well, how you expect me to take boxing seriously? He goes, well, ask everybody else how they do it.
You've got family in Ilford, right?
Ilford, yeah.
So why did you go to Manchester instead of straight to your family in Ilford?
Ricky.
For Ricky and to get into boxing.
Yeah.
And then Tony Sims comes into the scene. Someone who trained me, or I knew he's like an uncle to me, Tony.
Yeah.
Like a relative. I was introduced to him. I've known Tony for a long, long time. I had him from a year before I was professional, right through to the very end, stayed true to Tony.
A year before you was professional?
Yeah. Like I could not have done what I'd done without Tony. Like facts. Your dad knew Tony. They'd sparred. I got a story actually. Tony, you know what Tony's like with boxing. He knows every fighter from the past. He's a historian, Tony Sims, when it comes to boxing. Lives and breathes the sport. And he was showing me some sparring, and we'd sit down and we'd watch fights. And he said to me, "God, I want you to watch some of Nigel Benn. The way he moves his head, the way he's slipping and sliding, always he's like pendulums, moving." And I'm watching this sparring. And I can't remember where it was. It would have been somewhere in East London. And I'm watching this sparring with Tony. And,
my dad with Tony.
I'm watching. I think I'm just watching Nigel Benn. Your
Oh, I
dad.
got you.
I'm
Yeah,
watching Nigel Benn. Like, bang, 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 and I'm sat there with Tony watching it, and I'm thinking, "Oh, this other geezer ain't bad." Like, legit thinking, the other bloke ain't bad. A nice, tidy boxer, very similar to me, actually, the way I thought. And I said, "Who's the other geezer?" And Tony laughed and said, "It was him."
Yeah.
I knew he'd fought as an amateur and done a little bit as a junior, but I never knew that he was holding his own.
Never saw how he shapes up.
Oh, incredible. Yeah.
Like old school style, really.
Yeah, proper. And, you know, I had bundles of respect for Tony before then, but you see that and you think flipping egg, you know, like rubbing shoulders with your dad, who's a great. How did that link up happen?
I got asked to come down the gym to do some sparring, and Tony ain't seen Nigel for ages. I wouldn't say they were like, I think that just went completely off grid with everything that's going on with his life. He just left boxing massively. So we then come, he said, "Do you want to come down and do some sparring?" And then, I put down a hot prospect in the gym who was, you know, really touted to do great things then. And I put him down. And it was the first time I ever put anyone down in my life, in my career. Like, it was like, I don't even know. It was like, just landed perfect. And Tony was like, "Yeah, get going, amateur for 2 years." And then was like, "Let's take you to meet Eddie." Eddie was like, "We'll get you on the next day, J. Bill." I was like, "Yeah, sweet, mate. Let's go." And then that was that. So not ready. I was even like, yeah, exactly. I was so not ready. Like, I hadn't even had one fight, amateur, nothing. Just trained in Hyde, come down, put a kid down that.
No, sorry, you didn't even have an amateur fight.
I didn't have an amateur fight here.
So
no.
how long had it been since you last fought till your debut?
I had a court case over there, which was ongoing. So had my last fight at 17. Exactly. This is wild. This is where you sit there and you go, "I'm actually built for this. There's too many things." I've got to tell you something else funny about Luke as well on here. Anyways, so 17 to 19, no amateurs. And then 19, I turned pro. But obviously, you know my walkout tune. I don't know if you know my walkout tune, Ready or Not by the Fugees.
Of course I do.
So obviously, I'm in the car with Luke. And Luke's, so that to me, that was a sign anyway that, you know, well, I boxed for 2 years and I am
Just
where
quickly,
I am.
before you jump in that, Luke Chandler, Elite Scaffolding, sponsored me as a fighter. Very, very grateful for everything Luke done for me in my career. It was more than financial support that Luke gave me. Honestly, that man has a heart of gold. He then sponsored you. So this is Luke Chandler you're talking
But again,
about.
it wasn't even, sponsor. It was like someone who he believed in me before I believed in myself. Like, genuinely, he said, like, "You're going to get this. You're going to do that, mate. And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right, mate. All right." But I am now where he said I would be. So he saw the vision in me. I'd probably say him and Tony saw it in me before I saw it in myself. But anyway, so Luke's gone, "Yeah, you know," I'm thinking, "Oh, what about walkout tune? You know, I don't know what song I like." And then he's gone, "Ready or Not" by the Fugees. It meant a lot to him at the time as well because he was going through some stuff. And that's been my ring walk song ever since. I only found out maybe 6 months ago that the song that hit #1 in the charts on my birthday was "Ready or Not" by the Fugees.
Was it really?
Yeah, 28th September.
That's mad coincidence.
1996. That song hit. So I'm sitting there going, I've got goosebumps now because I go, what are the odds? Do you know what I mean? So there's been a few things in my career I go, do you know what? Actually, there's too many. How have I managed to land that shot and put that person down? Never put him down before or after that. In that room, in front of them people, that day.
That's the left or right. Do you know what I mean? Just making that decision.
Being there.
Not knowing that it's shaped you. Because, what happens? If you don't go down there, you don't spar, do you sign that contract or does it?
There's so many things that have laid out for me where it goes. Do you know what I feel like it is as well? Honouring my hard work. I feel like you just got to be prepared for anything that comes your way. Do you know what I mean? You can control what you can control. Even back then, I was still more dedicated than most fighters now, and I would classify myself as not dedicated back then. No, I wouldn't say I was. Now looking back, I wasn't dedicated, but I'm still dedicated back then more than most fighters are now. Do you know what I mean? I still wanted it. I still got up when I then moved from Manchester to Ilford to train with Tony. I'm getting the train getting up at like 4:30 a.m. walking from Henley Road, living up with my nans, to walk to the train station in Ilford, to get on the train, then sleep at the gym, do sprints, then sleep at the gym, then train again, and then get the train back. So that was me for a good couple of years.
That is dedication.
But you got to remember where I come from.
Silk pajamas.
Yeah. I didn't have no silk pajamas then. I had holes in my socks. Do you know what I mean? That's probably still got holes in my socks now. But do you know what I mean? So why would I do it? Why? In my head, I go, why would you do that?
Right, so bang, you made the move from Spain to Sydney to Manchester, hired to London. You're now in Ilford.
I'm a proper traveller, me, you know.
You're a proper traveller, yeah. You signed with Eddie the 9th of April 2016. Who did you fight your debut?
I can't remember his name.
You can't remember your debutant's name?
Ivan Bomb.
Who? Ivan. Boyanov. Boyanov?
I won't remember his name.
What can you remember about your debut?
I wasn't ready, mate.
You wasn't ready?
I was so scared. Yeah, mate, what do you mean? Like, I'm standing there and I'm just going, mate, like, I'm not even like...
Nerves like none other.
Well, I couldn't have no nerves because I'm like, you just got to firm it now, you're here. That was my mindset then. I'm like, well, I'm here now. Like, there is nothing I can do. Like, I'm here. Like, I'm doing about to do the walk. There's no point being nervous now because, you know, if you get flattened, you get flattened. Like, there's not really much I can do about it. You know, I signed the papers and I was getting paid all right. So I was like, sweet.
What was you thinking then, like, financially? You must be thinking, God, this is all right.
Yeah.
It pays being...
So that, and then it was like the sponsorship and I was like, yeah, it was like, yeah, it's a lovely bit of money, that is. I was like, that's nice.
And what were the goals then? Was it...
Really, the goals were,
yeah,
for me then, was like, let's see how far I can take this. I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid.
No real expectations.
None.
Just keep earning, keep
earning,
fighting.
Keep fighting because give me something to do.
There weren't a goal at all.
No.
Wow.
Southern area, no English. That wasn't even like in my head. British, none of it. That was in my head.
What can you remember of the fight itself? Can you remember it?
Yeah, I remember I'd done a skip rip and stopped him, and then I looked at Ricky and I said, "That's for you," because that was his famous shot, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's nice. You've sort of
give
him a
like,
thumbs up.
Yeah,
sort of looking after me.
Yeah, thank you.
You're proud of yourself when you look back at that period, and it's a tough question that to ask, really, to answer rather.
Yeah,
because as men or anybody, to say you're proud of yourself, it's a weird one.
You always think you can do better.
But regardless, though, you've taken yourself away from all your comforts. Go on, you can say it.
No, I'm just thinking because I'm trying to think to myself, if my son had done that, yeah, I would be proud. Yeah, I would be proud of my son if he had gone on the other side of the road, had to stand for himself, defend himself, do life by himself. Yeah, I'd probably say it was hard, but I was broken. Do you know what I mean? I was very broken, I think.
Did you feel broken at that stage?
Yeah.
Like even...
Only as of maybe... I was going to say as of like 3 years ago, but I've definitely been broken then over this period. But I would probably say up until maybe... up until I started seeing a therapist, I actually realised I was actually very troubled. You just go through life, don't you? You face what's presented. I remember feeling so lost being here without my family. I remember feeling so lost, like just lost. I lived on my own. I just felt lost. Boxing, you know, sort of filled that void for me. It took my time up. But the reality is, how do you go from a family, you know, twin sister, mum and dad, little sister, little brother, to then on your own within a day's notice, because it was within 48 hours. So I I'd got in a fight. After my court cases had ended, I'd had a fight literally the day after. So I left. It's within 48 hours. That was on a Friday. I'd left on a Monday.
Your world's turned upside down.
Yeah.
Just like
my
that.
dad had sent me, like, he's gone, I'm not doing this. Just gone for this court case. We're not doing this. Again, you're gone. It was in 40 hours. I was gone.
So
I never went back.
Boxing was more, like you said there, it was just occupying your mind.
Yeah. So, and I didn't know how to process all that. But obviously, you carry them things with you. You're watching your family spend Christmas together. I'm not there. You're watching this. And I didn't know my family here, really, because I was raised abroad my whole life. So really, although my family's here, I'm not the same. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was a tough period, but yeah.
It's made you, I can only imagine how tough it has made you though, mentally now.
Looking back now, it was, I can't say a blessing, because everything you go through, whatever it is, you get through it. Whatever it is, you get through it, you'll be all right.
Right, you are up and running. You're a professional boxer, you're 1-0. You rack up another 5 wins before you face your first unbeaten fighter. I'm going to ask you, who were those 5? Can you name them? Oh. And who was the first unbeaten fighter that you faced? Who was your second fight against them?
Oh, I don't know. Luke Kelleher.
Yes.
Yeah. No, because I cried in the changing room after that fight. I think you may have come in. Yeah, I cried because I was so like, what the hell? I was like, Tony, this ain't for me. Oh, by the way, as we get towards the end, you'll hear a lot of me going to Tony. It's not for me, mate. You hear a lot of them.
But there was conversations I had with you, and you said that to me.
Oh, yeah.
You said that to me. I don't know if this is me. I don't know. Because at this point, and I think the way I interpreted this was the pressure that was on your shoulders because of that name. You wasn't like anybody else going about their trade and sort of going under the radar, if you like, and racking up wins. Every single fight you had, every single press conference, every single weigh-in, every single spar, everyone wanted to prove themselves. Everyone wanted to hear. Everyone wanted to see. There was this weight of expectation on your shoulders every single time your name was mentioned.
But I feel like part of the culture here as well is, kicking when it's down.
Never any praise, is there? It's always like negativity. Even in the game now, still, like, there's no encouragement.
Where's any of our fighters, any of them that represent the country? We do this for everybody. I didn't understand that back then, so I'm going, fucking hell, like, give me a break. I'm just giving it a go. How can you say I'm Silver Spoon? Would you be doing this if you were me? So it's like, the one sitting there going, Silver Spoon, this is the most un-Silver Spoon job on the planet. This is the hardest job on the planet. I couldn't understand that back then. So I'm like, I'm trying, but it was really beating me down. There's times in the gym where, I didn't spar great. And I'd cry and bawl my eyes out. I got Tone, this ain't for me.
So, and the same after that Kelleher fight.
Yeah, same
you
cried.
in the
It's
change
like,
room.
Tone, this ain't for me,
What?
mate.
What? You just thought you performed badly?
Oh, it's horrific. Slapping. I don't know if you remember it. Do you remember it or not?
I can't.
Don't watch it back. It was horrific.
So you knew you'd underperformed in Inbox World, and you've gone back. You've got this pressure. Everyone at that point, I don't suppose you knew that you was getting any stick, or had you looked at your phone and you was getting a bit stick?
I've been getting stick my whole career. So everyone gets stick. I was getting the same amount of stick you would get if you was fighting now. I think people didn't like it that I'm the Nepo kid though either.
A what?
Nepo kid.
What's that?
Entitled.
Never heard that before.
You never heard Nepo kid? What's it, nepotism?
I thought you're talking to the wrong, when it comes to language and words, you're talking to the wrong man.
Yeah, Nepo kid's like entitled, come from wealth, privileged upbringing, all of that. So I was like the Nepo kid and Silver Spoon. Yeah, I know, yeah, it's wild when you think about it.
Nepo kid. So yeah, you're having those moments. What would Tony say to reassure you?
He used you a lot, He would say to me a lot when you just wanted to settle at the Commonwealth.
Did he tell you that story? Did he really?
Yeah, he was like, we'll speak to Darren. And that was what he would say to me. He's maybe said it to me maybe 5 times throughout my career. So every time I felt like stopping, he would say, what are you like? Happy with achieving this?
I'll tell you the conversation for the listeners, a poignant conversation. I remember after my brother died, it was just, I didn't really have the love or desire or hunger for it anymore until I found a reason to do it for him. But I was I was happy when I won my first national title at 17. So when I got to being a Commonwealth champion, and I said to Tony for the first time, I'm probably going to retire, mate.
Imagine if you had.
Pardon?
Imagine if you had.
Imagine if I had, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be sat here with you now.
It's wild.
Do you know what I mean? And I wouldn't have the life I have now. And he sat me down and in the office, in the old gym. Did you ever go to the old gym in Hainault? Yeah.
No, I just missed it.
Sat me down in the office and he said a name. And Tony I can't remember the name. But he said, do you know who this is? And I went, no. And he went, he was a Commonwealth champion. And you don't even know who he is. And if you retire now, no one is going to know who you are. And I remember thinking,
did it switch?
I never really thought about being a somebody. But then at that moment, I thought, well, definitely no one's going to know who my brother is. If I retire now, I'm not going to have an opportunity to let his name live on.
Yeah.
Shit, I better get busy fighting and winning and achieving. And yeah, so you
just flicked the switch.
Yeah, I mean,
Tony
it wasn't plain sailing.
No.
Do you know what I mean? There was many other times that I said to Tony, I'm going to jack it in. But
you know what it was? It's like Tony has a way of working you, didn't he?
What a man manager.
That's what it is. So when people go to me, good trainer, good pad man, is he a good coach? Does he know what makes the athlete tick? Does he know how the athlete works? Does he know how to manipulate you into doing something you don't want to do and making it out like you love it? Tony does all of that, as well as then outside life.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when you say man management, that is the exact word. You can't get any better than that man. But yeah,
you just don't want to let him down, do you? For me, I just didn't want to let Tony down.
It don't get in my head now though, because we tried it this morning. We're training, and I don't bite no more.
Hey, quickly, he said to me, he's texted me knowing you're coming down. He said, "Ask Conor about."
Oh God!
He said, "Ask Conor about his nostrils."
I don't know. Oh,
he must be giving you stick.
No, don't worry about him.
He said,
"Don't worry about him."
Tell Conor to tell the story about when he went to Scotland and he changed up a £50 note to Scottish money.
No, so Tony's had a field day with me, because
he's the biggest wind-up.
Yeah, he's had a field day my whole career. So now, see anything now don't affect me, like at all. But when the money won, I've gone up, he's gone, no, Con, you got to change your money, right, Scott, you got to change it. I've gone to the lady, excuse me, can I change money, please? I see him and Ricky Burns pissing themselves. But there's been so many things where...
He's relentless, isn't he?
Yeah, he's just sad me on. I just feel like, well done. Like, that's actually a good one. But nah, Tony for me, he's like my dad, man.
He's got your back, isn't he?
He's my loyalty, respect, admiration, love for Tony is he's second to my dad. Do you know what I mean? I've done my important years with Tony. I come to England, 19 years old, no money in the bank, struggling. And I'm now married with a few mortgages, couple kids, married. Now, top 3 in the world. Probably one of the biggest names in British boxing outside the heavyweights. So you sit there and you go, I've done all that with this man.
Yeah.
Who's got me to where I am now. Do you know what I mean? So you can't, anything anyone says, do you know what I mean? You get loads of people who come in from loads of different angles throughout your career. Anyone who say anything about Tony, to me, it's like, where were you lot when we were getting what we were getting? Where were you lot when we worked off sheer hope. Tony worked off sheer hope and faith that one day we're going to get to where I am now. Just me and him, me and that man.
Quality.
Do you know what I mean? So don't nobody come and talk to me about what you think or how you feel or how this should be divided up. You weren't there when it was, there weren't much. And after the performances, they weren't looking like we were going to go anywhere. But I man still put the time in. When I'm injured, when I broke my jaw, when I tore my tendon in my hand, still putting that work in, because it's mutual work. It's not me doing all the work. I've got to be accountable to Tony with everything I do. So yeah, when I talk about Tony, you can tell. calm down.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
I get my. No one can talk to me about that man, and no one can ever ruin a relationship I have with that man. Not family, not friends, not business partners, not money. Nothing will get in the way of a relationship I have with that man.
And we'll get obviously onto the big talking point of you, but he's been there all the way with you through that as well. Do you know what I mean? But we'll get there. So anyway, after you don't know it was after Kelleher.
No.
Radic.
Still don't know that is.
Ducker.
Still don't know that
Jameson.
Still don't know that.
Backhouse. So you don't know anything. But they were your first. They were your first
so bad.
5 opponents after your debut. Your first unbeaten fighter.
Is Mike Cole.
Mike Cole. We got
I
one.
remember that.
Mike Cole.
That's my best performance.
TKO.
4.
No, third.
Oh, third.
Third round.
Yeah. That was, for me, my best performance, where I was like, and it's first time fighting a southpaw. So first time fighting a southpaw, and I had just broke my jaw. I'd broken my jaw then, and that was
Did
my
you
first.
break your jaw?
No, I broke my jaw. I had a long layoff before that fight, because I broke my jaw in training.
Did I? Oh, I didn't. Of course I knew this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Blimey.
Yeah, it was bad. And then I come back, and that's my first comeback fight. And I made such improvements.
Maybe a bit of time off helped.
Well, no, I still trained.
Still trained, yeah.
Still trained every day.
But you were working more on technique.
Yeah, so
I
shadow
remember this
boxing.
period now.
Yeah, shadow boxing was,
Yeah.
oh mate, it was so long. You know, going to the gym now and not punching because of the jolting. I can only shadow box.
Another 4 wins. And then another something that we have in common. You fight one Cedrick Peynaud.
Oh, yeah. Give me horrors to this day.
One Cedrick Peynaud when...
Yeah.
I mean, if there was ever a time that you got stick, it was after that fight. But we had, again, another conversation, and it was your 11th fight. And if my memory serves me right, it was my 11th fight when I got dropped.
You told me.
By Conroy McIntosh twice. I think
Mine was twice.
Yeah, exactly the same. How mad is that? In our 11th fight, I'm pretty sure you can...
No, it was because you told me at the time.
My 11th fight.
See that here gave me hope. See, that gave me hope.
So you dropped in the opening round twice. I think I'm dropped in the first or second round twice against Conor and McIntosh. Let's get it right. Probably you would describe these two fighters as fringe journeyman sort of people. They're not going to be no world beaters, are they? And we're in the same boat.
They're just them people. They're just them guys. But it was horrific. Yeah, it was horrific because I was like, fuck. But you know what happened beforehand? I just fought in New York. Oh, so I fought back. No, who did I fight?
Yes, you did.
No. It was.
No. You were right.
Backhouse.
Backhouse was before Mike Cole. Or did no. Sorry, no. You had another 4 wins.
I'd fought Brandon Tenudo. That was it in America, New York, Nassau Coliseum. Living it large, giving it the big un. 50 Cent was, just to describe to you how I must have been feeling as 20, 21 years old. 50 Cent was there, and someone's done an introduction, gone, oh, do you know, he's goes, I know who that is, man. I was like...
50 Cent knows who you are.
Yeah, I was like, I know who that is, man. And I had a picture in that, and I was like, nobody talk to me. I've made it. Yeah, no one come and talk to me. Talk to, my right hand man. Don't come and approach. I was carrying on after that New York fight. And went out, partied in One Oak club, staying at the Dream Hotel. So that was all like, got to remember, 5 fights ago, I was earning 50 quid a week. So for me, it was like, I fully made it. So then Tony said to me, oh, do you want to have a run out before you fight again? And have a run out before the year ends. I was like, yeah, go on, may as well have a run out. But I'd put on about 2 stone in weight. I was out drinking. And then I had celebrating, obviously. And then I had come back, and then they said, yeah, you're fighting this guy. I looked at his record, bum. I had Miami booked for the day after. Was going to have a party at my pals' place afterwards. And after the fight, so that was all locked off and set up. And then bang.
Plummet.
Yeah, it was horrific.
What would you remember about not the fight so much, the aftermath of the fight? Because it was rough, wasn't it?
I thought, is this where this ends?
I
thought, is this where this ends?
Yeah.
I thought, was this it? Thought, well, it's been nice. Genuinely, I thought it's been a nice little run.
Genuinely
thought it's been nice. That's it. Like, what else do you want? Like, I've just been put down by a bum.
Yeah, I know. Look, we respect these men. Everyone plays a part in this hardest sport in the world. I know you're not being disrespectful,
free.
But in comparison to where you want to be,
that's what everyone calls him. And everyone's saying he's a bum.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going bum. That's how everyone talks over there. They go, yeah, no, he's a bum. So and then I a 3-time kickboxing world champion. I had over like 200 fights. 50% of them come via knockouts. I don't know why no one felt the need to tell me that before I jumped in there. Do you know what I mean? I've gone from fighting an Ivan Bobchik to fighting flipping 3-time kickboxing world champion. I thought it was going to be a piece of piss. And gone, yeah, I'll take it. Short notice, weren't asked at all. And then bang. That fight has made me the man I am now.
Yeah.
That fight made me the man I am now.
So you proud of yourself how you've regrouped after that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was like, I weren't living right. Definitely weren't living right.
No.
You know, not at all, no.
Just ego got in the way.
Ego, being young, having a little bit of money, living life.
Yeah.
You know, thinking that I can just keep
You're only
knocking.
human though, aren't you? Blimey.
No,
Where
no,
you come
yeah.
from, in the sense, you know, what you put yourself through, and then all of a sudden you got your own money. You're not getting 50 euros off your dad. You know, it's understandable,
No, maybe
right?
I had about-
But you had the hardest of lesson, a very tough lesson.
My toughest lesson in boxing to date.
Yeah.
To date, that's the toughest lesson. I compare every single one of my fights, maybe not anymore, to how hard that was, because that was absolutely horrific.
And then you're back in with him 7 months later. Nervous?
Shitting myself.
Was you really?
Yeah, shitting myself. Scared. That was when I ran the triangle, the quickest time that no one will ever beat.
Was you training with fear?
Yeah, couldn't lose. 3:47 I hit on the triangle. Just to let you know, the quickest time I hit now is around a 4:01 minute.
And you
mark.
did what?
3:47.
Do you still do the triangle?
Yeah.
You still go, because this triangle is a run that you did outside the old
0.8 of a
gym.
mile. Still go there.
You still go there
Yeah.
and do the triangle, yeah.
So everyone hits now. The quickest someone's hit was 4:03.
1 lap is 4 minutes free.
Yeah, but
And you
normally you hit them in about 4:30, 4:20s. So that's the average lap, 4:30s, 4:20s. But on the last one, I always gun it and see how quick I can get in. I'm a 4:02, 4:03 man, which is rapid.
Yeah, so you were training on fear. So you
Yeah,
get the win.
3:47. And then everyone kept going, no way, you hit 3:47. I said, well, what time did you come in at then? What time did you come in at? Exact same time as you always come in at. So, and then that was when Tony went to me, yeah, you know, Darren's a good runner. I think Darren would rage. I thought, no chance.
I wish we could have a race.
Yeah, no, he said
there's
it
no way.
again today. He said, you were an unbelievable runner.
Yeah, but that's
400s and 800s.
yeah. Long distance I was good. I weren't a good sprinter though.
Yeah, so
400 I wouldn't have been very good really. I weren't bad. I consistently kept the times and they were decent.
yeah, you know who's good at that? Martin Ward
Yeah, Waldy.
was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He would have hit, so he was the only person that could hit a 4:15 to 4:20 on all of them. But then he would never go, he could never get under the 4:15.
Right, but he's there all
He's
the
there.
time.
I couldn't do that. I'm either a 4:30, late 4:20s, or a 4.
You train with fear, you get the win. How are you feeling after that? Because it weren't amazing, was it? You got the job done. But
No, do you know what happened in that camp?
Go on.
So the last 30 seconds of the last spar, I tore my hand tendon. The last 30
Is it
seconds.
that scar there?
That's that scar there, yeah.
Jeez.
The last 30 seconds of the last spar, I done that.
Right, okay, I didn't know that.
And obviously everyone, you know, people bottle it. They come up with stuff they can't with, I'm injured and all that. So I thought, no way, I'm not fighting him. Like, I've done the
You imagine the stick you would have got as well.
Yeah.
Because you got drops in the first fight.
I haven't got that in me. There is no way on God's green earth I was not doing that fight. There was wasn't even
An inkling of
no.
that.
There wasn't even. Tony was like, Conor, you should. I got annoyed. Tony was asking me if I wanted to fight still. It was all
So you must
squishy.
be
It was horrible.
Again another moment where you think fair play. I ain't done bad there because you
I
got
went
the win.
I went and had surgery straight
Was
after
that
the fight.
10 round? Was that 10 rounds?
10 rounder, first 10 rounder.
First 10 round. That's right.
Went from a 6 to a 10.
So you close that chapter, you know, that hard period, and you got the win. You've gone through the aggro of having to fight with an injury.
Yeah.
And then I would say this is the fight where probably you become legitimately your own man. And that's when you destroyed Samuel Vargas in a round. I remember thinking...
Was Vargas first? No, it's Sebastian Formella.
Formella, yeah.
Formella.
So but for me, so you're winning and you're having these, you get the Formella win. But it was that fight where I thought, this man's a real deal. When you see a Vargas, who did he fight? He fought Khan.
Fought Amir Khan, then he fought Virgil Ortiz.
Yeah. And you've absolutely pummeled him.
Yeah, but my confidence from the Peynaud fight, even after the second fight, was still in pieces.
Yeah. Was it really?
In pieces, yeah. I was like...
And then Formella, you had 10 rounds, didn't you? Top fighter.
Formella, for me, was like... He had just lost to Sean Porter.
So that was your one, where you thought...
Former IBO world champion, just lost to Sean Porter. I beat him more convincingly than Sean Porter over 10 rounds. I was like, I'm well on my way. I'm actually... That was when I stopped thinking about painting, decorating, scaffolding.
Really?
Yeah,
it was that moment?
Yeah, it was that moment, yeah.
Wow. So you're even earning money, you're out partying, you're thinking you're the real deal, but still thinking this is going to end at some point.
Yeah, I didn't think I was the real deal up until Formella.
Blimey.
Yeah, and Formella for me was like I'm actually I could win
you've beaten a top fighter.
Yeah,
and
top
then...
fighter. He was top 10,
right,
yeah.
So how are you feeling after you've destroyed Samuel Vargas?
Yeah, it went from him... Did it go Granados or Vargas?
No, Granados was after.
Yeah, Vargas. I thought to myself, that was when I got like aggressive and I'm like, yeah, you lot put me up there because I don't know how. Do you know what? I just must have an alter ego. Because in the same breath, not too long ago, I was going, I wonder if Luke has a space at his firm if I had to work there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then now going, who wants some? Who wants
Do you think that was a little bit of self-belief creeping in? It's like, hold on a
After
minute.
Formella now, I was very confident.
Very confident. And then you destroyed Samuel Vargas, and
then
now
it was
you
like-
think you're the dog's bollocks.
Then it was like my power is there, so I'm not concerned about power because he's just gone in with Virgil Ortiz, who's everyone's going all pound for pound great, and this and that and this and that, and then dropped Amir Khan. So I'm like, so he just dropped Amir Khan, who you could say won at the best of his career, but dropped Amir Khan. Then he went 7 rounds with Virgil Ortiz or 6 rounds.
Yeah.
And then I've just flattened him in the first round. So I'm like, okay, cool. Is it a fluke? You could have gone, is it just lucky shots? So I did have them a little bit when you wanted to doubt yourself. And then I fought Granados. And
you can't really look into this too much, though. For anyone who hasn't seen this, Adrian Granados, let's be fair, he ran for his life, didn't he? He had no
I didn't really take much from it.
No.
Because it was extremely negative. He was very just on the go. Maybe missed some shots, but it was really I didn't take much from that fight anyway. I've just thought he's gone rounds with Adrian Bronair or Spence or whoever it was. And I thought, okay, well, I've done okay. Like, I've done good. Like, I weren't like overly impressed with my performance, but I've done good.
So you're fighting a former world champion, Chris Algieri.
Went rounds with Errol Spence, Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Listen,
that was a peach.
Yeah, that was what do we call that in the gym where you dip down twice, 1-2?
It was a Darren. Was it Darren? So he jabbed to the body, right hand over the top.
No, it was a straight 1-2. It's the
it's a little dip.
That's it. And then 1-2.
His hands drop
and then bang.
And then bang. Yeah. So you land that peach. Yeah. So who was that? I can't remember what that one was. Anyway, Algieri. You land this.
For me, then was like, anyone could get it.
And then Van Heerden.
Again.
He was fighting for something.
No, he just lost to Jaron Ennis.
Yeah, and didn't he have, I think he had something personal going on with Van Heerden.
Oh, his dad passed away.
That was right. And he was fighting for his dad, wasn't he?
So he had gone to me. When someone's fighting for something like that, it after does make you think, okay, they want it.
Well, because this sport and life in general is full of amazing narratives.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And he had one. He was trying to create one for himself. I know what you mean there, because you start thinking, is this meant to be for him?
Yeah.
Is this meant to be for him? Like,
yeah.
Then you start like for us who overthink.
Yeah.
That's a great example of thinking.
You go, well, this
it's
must
his turn
be
now.
Yeah, because he's fighting for something so
get the
deep.
paintbrush out.
Yeah. He's fighting for something so deep. So for me, that's like where, again, very different style, southpaw. And, I just come out there to absolutely put it on him after the Algieri knockout. And then from then, I'm just like, who wants it? And then
it's safe to say it goes a little bit south after this.
Yes.
It goes, I guess the best term for this is it went tits up.
Massively.
You're about to fight, probably, which is now still in talks, one of the biggest fights in British boxing, and it would be for the last however many decades. Your dad's fought Nigel Benn versus Chris Eubank. You're now slated to fight Chris Eubank Jr. Huge fight. Absolutely ginormous fight. And I remember turning up the outer net, Tottenham Court Road, and we're just about to start was it the press conference or the weigh-in?
Weigh-in.
Weigh-in.
Media workout. No, I don't.
Media workout. And someone comes over and says, "Have you heard the news?" What happened?
First off, it starts way back from then.
Oh, okay. You tell me.
Tony comes running to my door going, "Con, there's something's flagged up on your test." And then he said what it was. And I was just like, well, I'm sure there's an explanation for it. Like, it can just be anything. I was a little bit disappointed. I was a little bit like, oh, so annoying. Like, but I didn't really think anything of it. And it's mad going back there because I didn't think anything of it, which is
because you're clean, you're innocent. So this will all be resolved. But
it sorts itself out. Like, there's going to be a reason. Whatever it is, it's going to be a minor. And then I was like, all right, cool, just get them to come and test me again. Like, it's not like an issue. Like, they know where we are. Just get them to come and test me again. And then they come and test me. And then it was still heavily on my head. Like, actually, it was like, I didn't think it'd be what it became, but it was still like, shit, like, just wonder what that could be. And then it started getting more and more serious, as in, like, just started to get more and more like we were all trying to find out what had happened and how it had happened. And this was just the first test. We'd found out what's going on here.
What were you just thinking? Something like something's been contaminated, or just a lot of head scratching?
I don't know, because then when I then understood the severity of it and how bad that is, not the thing, just the fact that I failed a test. It's like, well, I failed a test, or I had an adverse finding in the test. I was like, all right, cool, let's run the test back. But it's hard for me because I'm there trying to think to myself, what have I taken? I'm calling up my friends. Obviously, no one knows. I'm calling up my friends going, did you paracetamol you give me, can you just make sure it's paracetamol in the kitchen because you didn't give me the tinfoil, so I didn't actually have a look at it. Can you do this? So I'm there trying to make calls, trying to think about who it could be. And then as it got more serious, I'm then looking at my sparring partners going, okay, well, have any of you lot,
really?
Yes, everyone.
Not trusting anyone,
no,
really?
Nobody. Obviously, I know I'm innocent, so I'm hoping that there's an explanation. And then, but obviously, me overthinking, going, oh, has someone done anything to me?
Mm.
When it was the second test, that was when there was a big problem.
So in that period of you doing that second test, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to be all right. Going to be fine now.
It's going to be fine. And then we notified Team Eubank. We told everyone knew what was going on. My team, his team, all he cared about was the fight still going on. That was all he cared about. And then him and his team, obviously it's a massive money fight.
Yeah.
And then the second test was what blew my mind.
How? It's just how?
How? And it's hard going back there because it was, it was horrific, man. It was so horrific. Because I'm like looking at, I can't even tell you. Do you know what? I sit here now, just fucking hell. Mad. I didn't care about anyone believing me at that stage. At the stage was how. Because if I could prove how, then that's how. And there was no how for a very long time. There was no why. There was nothing for a long time. All I know is I'm being targeted heavily at this stage. I couldn't even go in the gym. I couldn't even see face with any of the boys. I couldn't just walk to the gym doors. Couldn't see Tony. I just like proper shut myself out. I couldn't see Tony.
Really? And what did
Because
your
I
dad say?
didn't know if deep down Tony had thought I had done something.
Yeah.
Not because it's just because you don't. How? But they're asking me how. I'm going, how am I supposed to know?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, my dad was like, he knows, my dad knows me. My people know me. But then when there's been 2 adverse findings, you got to sort of sit down and go, well, what's gone on then? I know how it looks. That's the worst thing about it, is I get it. But
Almost you want people to just look, to try being me.
yeah, but then that's the Nepo kid. That's the entitled.
Yeah.
What you think you can. You deserve. No, but just imagine for a split second what I'm going through if I hadn't. Just imagine.
That's what I'm saying. Try being me. Sort
Yeah,
of
I
thing.
didn't get there for maybe a year on, when I started to hear all the evidence and the scientific facts and this and that and what's actually gone on and what could have happened. You sit there and you go, no, see all these people, that have been rinsing me, killing me. When I mean killing me, I mean killing me, like painting my heart black. Just imagine for a split second if I am what I've had to go through.
How bad was it, Com?
Oh, it was bad.
Awful.
Yeah, it was bad. Yeah, so bad.
I mentioned being proud of yourself.
Joe, I've done a lot of things, that I'm not proud of in my life. We've all made mistakes. Like, I've done so many things that I regret. And what I struggled with was, why this? Like, not even. It was hard because it was like I left my family to work hard and get to where I am through hard work, and now my whole career is questioned. I couldn't accept that I'd left my family for this. And it was like I trained so hard, I worked extremely hard. I've done everything by the book. Not an accident, not knowingly, not intention, nothing at all. It's not even a conversation. It's not even something you even think to talk about. But this has happened, the biggest fight of my career. And as a man of faith, you look up and you go, yeah, all right then, mate. Cool, no problem. You've seen how hard I work. You've seen everything I've sacrificed. You've seen the discipline. You've seen me do things I don't want to do to get to where I've got to get to. You've seen how hard I've worked for you to do this to me. Because when you look at the chances, it's like 1 in a million. 1 in a million.
But you're innocent.
You can't even fathom what's gone on or what was in your system to the levels so you can't even fathom it. But that's happened to me now. And I lost my faith.
Like I say, you're sat there dealing with this thinking, what? You're still questioning, like, how? You're innocent and you're thinking how?
Yeah, but I couldn't have a how. They didn't give me time to have a how or find out why. I didn't have time to find out why, because everything that I was finding out was the same time it was being pushed out to the media and being leaked. So everything I'm finding out for the first time is being leaked, and then the narrative's pushed. I can't even process what's been going on. And then at the same time, I can't even cope. Substance abuse, alcohol, just get me out of this.
Did you completely go off the rails?
AWOL. Get me out of this. Get me out of this. And there's times when I just look at my family and I'm just like, I'm sorry.
Nothing now to be sorry about, is there?
Not
we're
now.
all human, aren't we? And that was your coping mechanism.
I couldn't even look at my son. I'm your dad. Do you know what I mean?
Mate, thousands of pounds spent. How many?
Touching a mil.
Touching $1 million.
£1 million.
A lot of people saying you could have just said, took the ban, say you're guilty. But that was never the case for you. You stood true to who you was, remained very much, I'm innocent, and you went down that road. And we get to a point now where you finally been given the green light, it's a bit of a, we can't go into too much details, but where we are sat now, you've essentially, by, what is it, the Court of
Arbitration of Sport.
Arbitration of Sport.
The who runs any sport in the UK, who they run sports, the panel.
So all of that money spent, all of that negative thoughts, everything, compare it to boxing, that training camp that you've just gone through, that blood, sweat and tears, you've now finally got the green light. You proved to everybody that you are innocent. How does that feel? How does that make you feel?
Oh, it's worth the fight. You got to remember, I've been cleared 3 times now. Do you know what I mean? I was cleared by the court case in America where the panel cleared me of any wrongdoing. As in the WBC and VADA, Smirtle, the lab, had cleared me of any wrongdoing. This was almost a year and a half ago. They cleared me. It was their test. I passed all my UCAD tests during the period. I can't go into detail, but there's a reason I passed my UCAD test during the period of the VADA test. There's a reason why, which is it's ongoing, so I can't speak about that. But I passed a test that really I should have needed passing. And I was cleared then by the NAPD here, NADP, sorry, as I won that case. Then they appealed, and then now I've won the last case, and cleared to fight. And it was like, why am I being penalised for this? I'm obviously fighting it because I haven't done it. You think I'd spend near £1 million flying scientists to and from to find out what had happened? Science will blow your mind. I can't even go into the deep. The science will blow your mind as to how deep they go. You think they can solve murder cases 20 years ago? They can see if there's any abnormalities in your body over a period of a year. And then it's like, well, imagine how many fighters, for me, have gone through things, who don't have big promotional backings, who don't have money, who are maybe 30, 31. Well, they just got to call it a day. Where's the duty of care for the athlete? I'm a British fighter. I do this for you guys. Listen, if I had done anything, just common sense, would I be flying scientists to and from America constantly to test? Flew 2 scientists from Europe over to America. Would you do that? Like genuinely, in my head, would you pay scientists to investigate a murder investigation if you committed the murder? Or do you just go, oh, come on, give me 2 years. Let's do a plea deal like Ryan Garcia. Let's try and, come to an agreement. I ain't coming to an agreement. I ain't done it. I haven't done it. And I don't care what anybody says. I haven't done it. But yeah,
your conscience was pure and clean before you got the green light anyway. And I guess that, which is most important, I guess, for you knowing you are the only one that knows, and you know that you're innocent. But to say to everybody, see, I told you so.
I don't feel like that now.
No? Why?
No, because who cares what they think? I'd rather be me than them any day of the week. You're people at, certain broadcasters. I'm like, I look at him, I go, mate, I would still rather be me any day of the week than you on your best day. So don't come and use my name for clout. Talk about me all you want. It's the only thing that makes you relevant.
Yeah.
And I know you know what I'm talking about. So you want to carry on like that, cool, no problem. Or no problem. I'd still rather be me. Because you know what? I go home to my beautiful wife. I go home to my beautiful kids. I drive my nice car. We go on holidays. Spent this summer in Mallorca at 28. I'd still rather be me than you. So go on, slate all you want. Do you know what I mean? I'll fight for my innocence because I believe in that.
Yeah.
I believe it. If I had done it, do you know what I go? I've made so many mistakes, by the way. I go, do you know what? I'm human. I made a mistake. I'm sorry. I'm human. I make mistakes. I wish I could be perfect.
Do you regret any of them? Or you just say, do you know what? Part of the plan, part of the story.
Do I regret the way I handled the case? I can't say I do.
No.
Because it was raw emotion. I'm a fighter. I wear my heart on my sleeve. You can't just expect me to then go, and listen to the lawyers and go silent. Only reason why everyone's got a story is because I protested my innocence so heavily. I could go silent like some of these other fighters and slip off into the wilderness and just, let's, not talk about it, or I'll affirm it. I haven't done it. Irrelevant of what you're saying, I haven't done it. Period. I bet £1 million on it. That's what I've done. I bet you £1 million I haven't done it. And then it's worth it, because there was so many times I felt like going, by the way, I ain't got £1 million. I'd have to sell assets. So when I'm willing to put myself in bankruptcy at the age of 25. And trust me, it's a hard decision to make when you've got kids and a family. And it's looking like my innocence isn't going to get proven at some stages, because it's ups and downs constantly. So I'm going, I'm spending my son's money here. I'm spending my kids' money here. I had my daughter day before I found out I lost the appeal. And I'm like, yeah, because it just takes their moments away from you.
Close to giving up?
Yeah, it takes their moments away from you. My son, I missed out the first year of his life, second year of his life. My daughter, I couldn't even, I was just off the rails, just couldn't handle life. Do you know what I mean? So, and I'm like, it's worth the fight.
Mate, right, you have.
Cleared.
You cleared, didn't you?
I'm cleared,
You're cleared, right? So you had 2 fights in that period, that dark period, I guess, near the end of it.
No, well,
was it Miami? Or
Florida, Orozco, which
Orozco.
was, it was an hard fight.
Yeah.
Hard fight. He was
They
an
breed
hard
them
man.
tough over there, didn't they?
No, he was an hard fight. He was that Mexican you don't bring over.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I had no choice. They gave me this Mexican, or it was another guy whose record went. I thought, no, I'll come back fight this Mexican. I should never be fighting with what was over my head.
Yeah.
Should never be. We didn't know if I was going to be fighting or not until 2 weeks beforehand.
Yeah.
I don't prepare like that. That's not how a Conor Benn fight prepares. Peter Dobson, I'm looking at him going, there's no way you lot think he can beat me. When you start thinking like that, hey, how do you perform? How do you expect me to go there and feel charged up and, nervous and scared and worried, and, if I mess up, it can cost me. He won't.
But how did that feel anyway? Did you feel like that was your career back on track?
No,
then?
I didn't.
Or does that feel like it now? Does it feel like now this is it?
I still ain't sunk in yet for me.
Really?
Yeah, it ain't sunk in yet. It's the highest grossing cancellation event at the O2 in history.
Wow.
Yeah, sold out in, I think, 8 minutes.
So you're playing catch up now with your career and financially.
Well, you think
you
during
got
the
to
period.
try and recoup that £1 million now, haven't you?
Oh, it's sore, innit? I'll try not to think about it. But yeah, it's sore. I mean, listen, it's live, isn't it?
How excited are you, though, about the future?
Well, you got to remember that I've had the John Martin Davis fight was they sent him a $15 million offer. You had Pacquiao, which was near done. You're talking, then there was Kell Brook at the time. Then there was, so all these fights haven't happened because of this period. So I'm like, what more do you want from me? Say even if I had done it, say if like you're a person who believes that I slipped someone a brown envelope and gone, yeah, well, I'm like, how much more? What do you want then? I missed out 2 years of my career. I've lost millions. I've spent millions. What do you want? Do you know what I mean? If I had done it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like I've spent and lost so much money. Let's not forget my mental sanity, which was gone at stages. Do you know what I mean? So for me right now, I'm like, I really am like anyone. Just give me the ones that make sense.
But you're full of excitement, surely. Or are you anxious? Are you just desperate to get in there?
Just desperate
in
to get
those
in there,
big
yeah,
fights.
yeah.
Them big fights are going to be there. Surely you know that with the name that you have.
Yeah, it's mad because I was waiting for someone to take the spot over the past 2 years. And I've been watching the landscape, obviously, of British boxing. And outside of the heavyweights, I'm not really overly concerned about anyone taking that spot. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm him.
Do you think you're coming back into the sport in an important time where
Definitely.
the sport? But how many years do you reckon you got left? If you
Being honest.
being honest,
How many do you think?
you keep yourself in good shape, 3, 4 years at.
Okay.
I think you got more than that.
No,
I think you're more than, but I'm thinking 3, 4
4
years at peak.
3, 4.
Peak.
Well, I'd say 3, 4 from mental space as well.
I'm just thinking, if you're going now 28 to sort of 31, 32.
Yes, 32 is still a bit for me. Like,
But what I'm saying, I would class the next 3, 4 years as your peak years
yeah.
with your physical and your mental
Based on the way I've
attributes now.
been sparring,
Yeah.
you'd like to think that I've definitely in my prime.
Yeah, that must fill you with so much excitement when you're looking at what's going on. What's your take on His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh's involvement,
I think
Saudi's involvement in boxing, the way boxing has changed since
I stopped, since I couldn't fight. It's changed. When I mean boxing has changed, it's night and day from what it was when I had them 2 years out. It's night and day. With His Excellency involved, he has changed boxing. He's put on, think about the shows he's put on. Think about the connection that he's made with promoters. Do you know what I mean? It's like boxing's becoming one. And I do think they will be pushing for one more title.
Where I was going with that last point is the sport is looking for its next stars. I know you're established already, but you're essentially being reborn into the sport of boxing again when the likes of AJ, Usyk, Fury, some of these other greats that have just retired are going to be leaving the sport. It needs stars.
I do feel like
and
I am someone to fill that gap. I think there's a couple fighters for me. You've got, obviously, Ben Wick was one of them, up until obviously the loss, the draw. Was it draw?
He drew with Liam Cameron.
The draw. Yeah. And you got Adam Azim, who's, up and coming.
Hamza Shiraz.
Hamza Shiraz is another one I go.
What a lovely man, by the way.
Yeah, if they market him right. I think I said this in an interview. Why take the Johnny Beck fight now? In my opinion, I go, why take it now?
He's an Ilford boy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a Russian killer or Chechenian or Kazakhstani killer. Why now? You ain't got to do that now. Don't let no one put you under pressure. And then what he'll be getting is a load of flack and stick from the British public.
He's ducking him.
When the reality is he's got all the time in the world to get to where he's got to get to. Do you know what I mean? So you get Hamza Shiraz, another one. I think British boxing definitely needs them stars, which stars don't always come from, fighting, personality, character. People invest more in character and personality.
And story. And you have one hell of a story.
Me turning pro, see where we've just started. I never thought I'd get to where I am now to have this story. You couldn't make it up. You genuinely couldn't make it up. Like, so absolutely, up to the age of 28.
There's a film in this. Who would play you in a film?
I would like Denzel Washington, but it'd be done.
They're old now, isn't he?
But I love Denzel. My favourite actor.
Denzel can play your dad.
Yeah. I definitely feel like there is documentaries have been in touch about it. But then I spoke to another fighter, Kevin Loranga.
Yeah. Oh, man, what he went for his mother before.
Mate, before that.
Yeah.
So you talk about my journey as well. He tested positive for clomiphene. Same thing. He's gone, mate, I tried reaching out to you, but I had the same thing happen to me.
So what happened with him? Did he just take a ban?
A year ban.
Right.
But I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, you as well. Then there was two other fighters, Alberto Puello and not Watlin. Who's the other guy?
Puello, he fought somebody fought recently in Saudi.
Alberto Puello.
Yeah.
Yeah, he tested positive. He got a 6-month ban.
Oh, he beat Akhmedov.
That's
I
it.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. Him. And then there was, who's the guy AJ fought? Hellenius. Tested positive for the same thing. You're telling me during, no one knows about, you're telling me during a 3-month period, which this was, all that's happened with VADA testing. So you sit there and you go, listen, all in due course, all in due time. But you think that's what I've told you's, a great story. Wait until it's finished and there's no ongoing case. That's like another whole thing in itself where you sit there and you go, wow. And then people may sit down then and go, oh my gosh, he actually was telling the truth.
Again, your conscience is clear and pure anyway, so it doesn't really matter, does it? But I know what you're saying.
I don't want no apology. I don't want no sympathy. I don't care about all that. But just to maybe, he was telling the truth.
Yeah.
But it's undeniable.
Do you think you want that? Yeah.
I want the.
Do you think you deserve it? I deserve an apology from people.
No, I don't care. Fuck them and their apology. Why do I care about their apology? Like at all. Do you know what I mean? What does their apology do to me? It don't change nothing. You know? And that's how I feel. I don't want an apology. I don't want no sympathy. Because there's a lot more people going through a lot worse. This just hurts your ego and your pride a little bit. When you have people who are, kids are terminally ill and they're kids, and I'm seeing that, I'm sitting there going, how dare I sit here and talk about a little bit of ego and pride? There's, and I know it's all relevant, but that's when you go, that's real hard. That's really hard. That's what real hardship is. Not this. This is just about caring what people think. And then you get to a stage for me right now, and I'm like, yeah, fuck all you motherfuckers. You know what I mean? And then they hate it, but I'm like, you lot done this. This is you lot. I'm a product of what you lot create, because I wasn't like this when I turned pro. I was happy, be lucky. Oh, and now I'm what I am. You lot want to, yeah.
So right, you got a green light. You got your wonderful family around there. You got your fantastic coach. You got everything's back, right? And your goals are massively to recoup that money, earn fortunes. Get that generational wealth, look after your family.
Yeah.
Boxing goals, is it to be a world champion? Is that a dream of yours?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's every fighter's dream. Do I think world titles are now what they used to be? I don't think so, in my opinion. But would it be nice to win a WBC world title? Of course it would.
10 million or a world title?
No, 10 million.
10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 million.
Yeah.
Every day of the week. Because see the life I live now, I see so many world champions who haven't invested, who haven't bought houses or whatever. And I sit there and I go, yeah, I'd rather still be me. In terms of the position I'm in, than be you as a world champion.
Yeah, you could be doing a podcast like me.
Which is great. I get to have great clients on. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Come on then. Give me your free fighter hit list. You're back now. You can pick who you want. Map it out. Your next fight, the following fight, then the fight after that. Your next free fight.
It's hard because I think there'll be a rematch clause in if the Eubanks fight does get done.
So you could have 2 wins over Chris Eubank.
2 wins over Chris Eubank and then barriers for the world title. Like, I'm already in talks to try and get this WBC world title.
But you would take Eubank over a world title fight?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I would, definitely.
Is that for bragging rights, money?
Bragging rights, money, hatred, and feel like it's the biggest commercial fight there is in current boxing.
Do you want to leave? Do you think that leaves a legacy?
Do
you want to leave a legacy?
Yeah,
like
not
your
really.
dad
Like,
did?
Who's going to be talking like? No one. Does legacy? I mean, it's hard to. Does legacy? How much does legacy matter? Because I saw in a video, and Tony sent it to me. Your kids' won't even know your grandparents. Like, I don't. When do I ever ask my dad about his dad's dad?
Yeah.
Legacy will die
It's
out.
like that little blue dot, when you go in. What is that quote or the saying? It was an astronaut, I think, went into space. You see the little blue dot. It's like all your problems are so insignificant. Anything that you
in the world
doesn't matter, does it?
No.
Do you know what I mean? And all things like legacy and that. What does it?
Like
what
my son knows. Well, no, his granddad is, and how we're a fighting family. If you want to talk about the fighting family and being a Ben and what that stands for and what that represents, that's being a fighter. My son will be a fighter. If he does have a son, will be a fighter. And it will trail back to coming from a family of fighters. But they're not going to be like, oh yeah, he done this, he done that.
No, but it would be nice, like you're saying, to say, instead of him saying Nigel Benn and his son, it'd be nice to say, oh, them Benns could fight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The Benns thought they were fighters.
Yeah, of course, they could have a good fight. They put their value for money, they put bums on seats. We always tune into a Ben fight. For me, that's more what it's about. I wouldn't say like, everyone has an opinion these days. Oh, but you never won the world title off of the true world champion, or you never. So you can never really win. In reality, if you care in what people think, because you never be good enough, you'll never be humble enough.
Yeah.
You'll never be real enough. Just do you. Secure the bag. sit on a beach with your family in Miami. Your missus not have to go to work, or your son is the Nepo kid that everybody chooses to hate.
I'm going to use that one, the Nepo
kid. Yeah, let be that person, because the reality is everybody wants that for their family, and if you don't, well, then you got problems. If you don't want your kid to not have to go through hardship, or give them a pathway, or make life a little bit easier for them, well, don't every parent want that for their kids? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So I never understood that. I'm like, well, I can see, in your profile picture, you got pictures of your kids. Would you not want that for your kids? To have a head start in life, to have a leg up in a world everyone's trying to pull you down.
Conor, mate, I cannot thank you enough for coming on here. I know you're picking and choosing. You're doing very little. So to come on here and talk to me and share your unbelievable story, a story that no doubt will become a film one day, and a story that is yet to be finished yet. A big chapter, big chapters are coming up, that are going to make this make it a happy ending. Do you know what I mean? And I can't thank you enough, Conor. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Mate. Cheers. Thank you.
Wow, what a powerful episode that was. Conor Benn, what a legend. So glad to see him back. It's been an incredible story so far, as you've already heard. But yeah, the future looks very bright for one Conor Benn. Look, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Who do you want to see on First Round Podcast? This is yours. This is ours. This is something that we're in together. Have a good one.